Hello, everybody, and welcome to another community conversation. My name is Ann Cosma, and I'm one of the educator innovation leads at Team Flipgrid, and I am so excited to welcome you tonight as we talk Flipgrid for All and accessibility awareness. I'm joined tonight by my awesome friends and colleagues. And so I'm going to go ahead and introduce the two other educator innovation leads on Team Flipgrid, Jornea Armont.
Hello, everyone.
And let's add Jess Boyce to the conversation.
Hey.
Hey. So, friends, we are inviting another teammate to this conversation. Are you ready? Anybody want to say who it is that's joining us?
I will. Our wonderful friend, Liz Maddy, is joining us.
Hey, Liz.
Hello.
How are you, friend?
I am great.
Awesome. Well, everybody, I am so excited to welcome and introduce Liz Maddy tonight. So Liz is sort of like a woman who does so many things behind the scenes, but one of her roles on Team Flipgrid is as the head of accessibility. And October is Dyslexia Awareness Month. We have a brand new accessibility awareness featured playlist, and we wanted to just have a conversation with you and start off by asking, who are you? What do you do? And what are some of the things you're super passionate about?
Well, hi, I'm Liz. Awesome introduction. Yes, I lead accessibility at Flipgrid, and I absolutely love my job. I've always been really passionate about accessibility and just being inclusive of everyone. Back in the early days, I worked on a project to close the literacy gap for DHH learners, and that was a really powerful, fun project for me to work on. And now I'm just so happy to learn and work alongside everyone in our community to allow every learner to share their voice in any way that is most comfortable for them.
Yes, and Liz, that is so inspiring because, as you mentioned, accessibility just creates better opportunities for all learners. And so to kick us off, I just have a question. What should folks know about accessibility?
Mostly, yeah, anything that you can think of that would help a small group of people with having this one problem. If you can solve a problem for them, it helps everyone. And that is like the key to accessibility. So just think about all the different situations you're in and, like changing the background in Teams. Like that's a huge thing for lots of reasons. It's fun just to do, but also it can be a huge feature if you are like learners in different environments where you may not be comfortable showing the space you're in or showing parents in the background or anything like that. So it becomes very much an accessibility.
That's a great point that I don't think folks sometimes realize. And I know when I was either starting my career as an educator, I think it's been only in the last handful of years that I've learned a ton more about accessibility, whether that's been on social media or collaborating on the team. But it's been really cool to get insights from you, learn more from you. And I think that's why we just want to have like this organic conversation, ask a few questions and dig in. So Jornea, I love that you asked that question. And that's like when folks see that hashtag A11Y, right? Mm-hmm. Liz, can you tell us anything about that?
Absolutely.
What is that? What does it mean?
It's basically shorthand for accessibility. There are 11 letters between the A and the Y of accessibility. So it's just a shortened version for Allie.
I love it. So I think that one of the things we're hoping to do tonight as we learn a little bit more is to kind of go into the Flipgrid platform, talk about a few things and explore and talk about what exists that people might not be aware of or how they can use the tool to support and empower all of their learners. So I'm going to go ahead and change the screen a little bit and add us all over into the Flipgrid website, everybody. And let me take that banner off of Liz's face so we can see Liz. All right. So, friends, start talking about what are some of the things that, if we're not familiar with, that exists inside of Flipgrid, or even camera features that might be meaningful or powerful or shift the way somebody uses the tool. What about, let's start there.
Awesome. Well, one of the biggest features in admin that we added somewhat recently is the ability for educators to edit captions. I don't know if you want to pull that up, Anne, but
yeah. So I'm going to I need to figure out where, what video I might have some captions on. Sorry, I should have been a tiny bit more prepared for that. Here we go. So I'm just coming into one of my groups. I'm coming into one of my topics, and I have this response, right? This is a sample response, but if folks aren't familiar, Liz, it's right down here, right? So I can enable closed captions, and I'm going to zoom in on this so that folks even know where it is. But why don't you tell us about this editing feature, or what that even means?
Yeah, if you scroll down a little bit and go to edit, you can actually, the closed captions are the text that appears on the screen with your recording. So people that are either in a DHH and deaf or hard of hearing and can't hear the audio, or if you're in a space where a coffee shop, it's loud and you just can't hear the audio given your situation, you can use that. And yes, if you go right in there, you can go to edit captions. And so sometimes the translations aren't 100% perfect, or a learner may have an accent or just be a little bit soft-spoken. And so it's great to have the ability to go in there and just fix up the things that may be incorrect. And so that's really powerful.
So I've already edited this one, and I usually look quickly because I'm curious, but that's such a powerful thing. And I taught first grade students. So oftentimes when they're recording, they might not enunciate, or that audio might not be captured correctly or translate the correct way. So this is a super powerful feature. And if folks are not familiar with it, I just want to show you where it is again. Let me go ahead and scroll down a teeny tiny bit. I haven't made any changes, so I'm just going to come back to my video. I'm looking at a single video. I come down to that Actions tab, and within my Actions tab, I have the ability to edit those captions. So that's a powerful feature built right into Flipgrid.
Yeah, and captions too are just it's such a great feature. And Liz, to your point of what you were saying, when we think about accessibility, if it's something that is representative, that's going to help a small group of people, it's going to be helpful across the board. So I loved that you used that explanation of, maybe it's someone that's deaf or hard of hearing. Maybe you're in a coffee shop and just can't hear what's going on your computer, and you need those. And I think of emerging readers, or students who are learning English as a second language, or just so many different things. And I love that when you're just thinking about accessibility, it's helping for everybody.
Yeah. Even for myself, I tend to turn them on just because I prefer to consume audio and visual at the same time. It just helps me process better. And that's just a personal choice.
Hey, Liz, I found another button in here that's right next to that captions. People might not be aware of what this is. Do you want to explain what this is?
Absolutely. That's playback speed for video. And this is super helpful if you either need the audio to slow down or speed up. And that's totally personal preference, how you prefer to consume content.
Mm-hmm. I love that. I think that the reason for even a slower playback was sometimes speech pathologists or oral language fluency was checking for pronunciation. And then, of course, just like on some social medias and podcasts, I listen at 3 times speed usually. But when educators are playing back, they can go 2x and even speed up to speed up that process. So these are just built right in, friends. When you're clicking into a student's response, you can find it in the settings. You can toggle on that captions feature. Let's go ahead and even go back to,
hey friends, are you ready?
I'm just going to come back to this discussion real quick. And when you're adding a topic, one of the things that folks can do is set a captions language, right? So this is another powerful tool. Anybody want to share any other thoughts or brain zings around this?
Yeah, I actually just popped up a comment as well that I saw that I think speaks to that too. Thanks to this feature, my students who are not good at English can collaborate with other students across the board. And I just think that is so powerful. But being able to change that language as well. So if you're in a classroom that's learning a different language and your students are speaking in that specific language, you can go and caption it. And that's just incredible.
That's so powerful. That's one thing too. I don't know, Jornea or Liz or Jess, like, have you noticed even in your own social platforms, there are a lot more folks who are including captioning, or they're throwing that text on their social posts, or they're using alternative language in their social copy. And maybe, Liz, you have a little bit of insight into this. Like, why do you think more and more folks are doing that? Is it just increased awareness, or like more people realize, hey, we should be doing this everywhere?
Yeah, I think it's a little of both. Increased awareness, and once you start using it and getting used to it, it's really nice to have. And so I think it's twofold.
I love that. I love that. Well, Jornea, one of these other topics I love to talk about is this little blue icon, right? Anybody want to take this one? Because this is one of our favorite things to demo.
We're all obsessed with it.
We all love the Immersive Reader. As Anne mentioned, this is a little button that just holds so much power because it does provide accessibility for so many. So let's click inside of that Immersive Reader, and what you're going to see now is the text now in its own window. And what's neat about this is that your students, no matter who your students are, have so many different options. So as you can see, Anna's modeling how you can change the voice speed. You can even change the sound of the voice. And so, you know, knowing things that we know about students, they may attend a little bit more if the voice is a little different, or if it's slower or faster. You'll also see that that text can be read aloud to the student. So once again, you know, I have a young learner. This is a great option if you have text for young students who are learning to read, or maybe, once again, if it is someone who might not be able to see the text, right? To have that text read aloud. So Liz, talk to us a little bit more about, you know, these features that are embedded, because I think sometimes we think, oh, these are Flipgrid features, but really they're accessibility features that are allowing the experience of Flipgrid to be a great experience for all learners.
Absolutely. And it's just key that you can customize all the settings that you would need. My son is dyslexic, so this is huge for him. And it helps him focus on the words as he's reading through with the computer. You can also update the languages here, which is really cool if you have duolingual students trying to, or ESL students.
Hey, Liz, have you ever heard that, you know, Comic Sans gets a really bad rap, right? But isn't it like one of the most visually accessible fonts out there?
It is. Yeah, there's also another font.
Lexen?
Now, maybe. And it kind of weights the font down so that when you're dyslexic, sometimes you tend to jump lines and you can't read straight across. And so it just helps weight it down in your brain so you can follow it better. So yeah, Comic Sans is actually a perfect font for accessibility.
So I know you started mentioning some of those other things. We talk about, you know, identifying the parts of speech, toggling those on. I'm actually going to change the theme again to the lighter theme. But you mentioned this. Come back to this and talk about some of these features.
Yeah, so this is huge. This really helps focus line by line, and it really allows you not to jump lines. It kind of trains you to do that. So it's just a great view for a lot of learners, not only dyslexic learners.
Yeah.
It's really interesting too, because I haven't even thought about the fact of this is giving you practice. So in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, the line focus is excellent for if you do tend to jump, just to help in general, but to even think about the fact, no, this is training your eye and training your brain in order to, when it's not there, to be able to do it is incredible.
Yeah. You know, I remember as a second grade teacher cutting out a folder or like a piece of construction paper to have kids just go line by line if they had that trouble, and to say that it's embedded on every single Flipgrid topic, and the student has the autonomy to be able to make those choices themselves, is so beneficial. They don't have to wait on anyone to get the support that they need. And I think that's what really, it just makes my soul feel so good to know that the students have exactly what they need at their fingertips.
Yeah. And I love this. You started talking about the translation feature in here. So so the Immersive Reader is a Microsoft learning tool, and this is just available for anybody who wants to use it. All they have to do is click on that icon, and it's fully embedded throughout Flipgrid. I love that you see the Immersive Reader in all kinds of incredible, technology tools, but even this translation feature, when you think about inviting and welcoming folks who might not speak English as their first language or have a different language of choice, this is, I think, like over 70 languages right here that you can translate into. And it's just this powerful tool built in. The picture dictionary that's embedded within as well. I love that there are sometimes photographs that pop up. Whether it's a speaker of a different language or language acquisition. I taught first grade, and 87% of my students were English learners. So this as a visual support for pre-readers and emerging readers is like amazing, 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 right? All right, so anytime you see this, and even on the new text comments, the Immersive Reader is fully embedded, which I'm obsessed with. I love it.
And something that's good to know too, I'm sorry, Liz. You don't have to turn it on. So Immersive Reader is automatically there. I know that sometimes educators are like, okay, well, is this a setting that I have to find in my topics? It is there. It's there for on the educator side, which is what we're looking at, but then also on the student side. And even the captions that are on the videos can be read in Immersive Reader as well. So it is there to support your students in all forms.
That's exactly what I was going to say, Jess, is the closed captions.
Well, so I have this is the first time I've ever done this, but now that we dug into it a little bit, I do have a video about the Immersive Reader. We can end with that at the end of the broadcast, but I know we have some other resources that folks might not be aware of. Liz and Jornea, I'm going to call you out on this because I'm going to head to that little button at the top that says Discovery and let you take it away.
Awesome. Well, guys, if you didn't know, Discovery is a place where educators can find their best topics. And so I reached out to Liz, knowing that it was Accessibility Awareness Month and also Dyslexia Awareness Month, to see about how we can really bring forth some of these ideas to our community. And so what you'll see here is a collection. And Liz, tell us about that image in the collection, because it's very, very special.
Yes, this is actually one of our stickers that the amazing Cindy designed of those, just the accessibility icons up top, just kind of encompassing all the differences we all have.
I love that.
Absolutely. So when you click inside, what you'll find are topics that relate to accessibility. And so Diana, I know she is an accessibility teacher, so you'll see a lot of her topics there. And we'll continue to add more and more topics. So if you have topics specifically for accessibility, why it's important, how to recognize it. And I think, I think it's beautiful. Liz is a designer, and when designers, design, we learned from one of our other teammates, they want to create good experiences. And so that's one piece of being accessible. What kind of experience will the learner have? And so these topics are incredible. We also have another playlist, I think, Anne, you want to highlight too,
yeah,
right?
Absolutely. So again, friends, if you just are looking for all of this, head right into Discovery, come down to these feature collections. But one of our partner collections is from a partner called Made by Dyslexia. And here they are right when you go into all of those partner topics. And before I click into there, I just have to say, I didn't ever have professional learning related to or surrounding visual needs, disabilities. I did not know a lot about dyslexia. I still don't. So I'm taking this month to do some learning. And this Tile is a jackpot of resources, not only for your learning community, but even for you and your own professional learning. So that's something that I'm absolutely obsessed with regarding the Discovery Library in Flipgrid, is how you can use these topics to further your own growth. Made by Dyslexia is a group out of the UK, right? Founded by Kate Griggs. And Dr. Charlie Miller, actually, I know went over, participated in an event with them last year. And it was incredible to learn about this organization. And it's such an honor to have their content available for the world here in Discovery. But let's take a look at some of these topics, and anybody call one out that grabs your attention. But
I know one, superpower. So it's one of the highlighted ones at the very, very top. There it is, my superpower. And I want to call this one out because first and foremost, the more we know, the more we can do, right? And so a lot of times students, families, etc., they may think that having dyslexia is a challenge. But this topic really reframes that as an opportunity and a strength. And so, Liz, I know you mentioned earlier your son has dyslexia. Can you speak a little bit about the superpowers that he has? Because I remember my students with dyslexia, they were the most creative students, the most articulate students, the students that could put things together so quickly, but the struggle was with reading. So just speak a little bit more about that for us.
Yeah. You just, if you're dyslexic, you just process things differently. And in doing that, like my son, he's a creative thinker, he's a problem solver, he's a storyteller, and he communicates amazingly audibly. But when it comes to writing stories and reading, he just can't. And this is also why Flipgrid is such a powerful tool, because he can share his voice, not get frustrated by, I can't spell this word, I can't spell that word, and actually use his creativity with all the cool features that Flipgrid has to do something very creative and outside the box, and maybe not something that maybe unexpected.
Absolutely.
I love that. And I was thinking too, just some of these topics, not only to learn more, but to hear from folks that might be recognized in social aspects, like Jamie Oliver, Chef Jamie Oliver, right? Princess Beatrice, Orlando Bloom, hearing from Keira Knightley, or even for Sir Richard Branson. Just incredible stories, incredible resources. And all of this is available, Made by Dyslexia, in the tile right there in the Discovery Library.
And there are all people who have dyslexia, and so they share their story, they share their experience growing up. And I think a lot of people, when watching it, can identify with those same experiences, and maybe also start recognizing those within others as well, because sometimes you might not know exactly what something is, but if you hear someone else's story, you're able to identify, and then once again provide just resources and support for them.
Yeah, and I love this too. One of our newer partners, Amplifier Educator, they have these gorgeous pieces of art and graphic designs that really speak to whether it's social justice issues or civic engagement. I love this is about disability justice, but incredible resources for folks to use too. Whether it's a video, a lesson plan, or artwork you can share in your community. So I love that. I love it. I love it. All right, Liz, are you ready? I'm going to super speed over to another resource and invite you to just speak a little bit. Let me go up to the top because I was way down at the bottom, apparently. Recently, you wrote a blog for us all about accessibility and inclusion. So maybe speak to some of the features of the blog, and then I have one more thing I want to talk, and then I think we could wrap up an incredible discussion.
Awesome. Yeah, this is just a piece I pulled together, some of my favorite features. A couple to call out, I guess, on the front end, the student side of Flipgrid, there is a little toggle button where you can toggle light mode and dark mode, which is just nice to, depending on your setting and what feels best for your body. It also will detect automatically what your computer is set at or phone, and it will automatically switch that. And so that's a cool.
And that's like, for example, on the screen, my background is light, it's white. So that's how I'm visually processing it. But you're contrasting with a black screen or a white screen is what you mean?
Yep. If you set like in your computer default settings, whatever that is set to, Flipgrid will automatically detect that and flip it for you. And then also on the blog, there's just highlighting some amazing ways that educators are using Flipgrid. One that's called out is actually the AR button, and how that there's one educator that actually printed out, made a shorts video, printed out the QR code and put it on worksheets. That way students could use Flipgrid AR to pop up. Yeah, exactly. Just like that, to see what the worksheet's about so they can have it verbally as well as written. So it just touches more places to interact with your students and get them what they need and what works best for their learning.
Yeah. So Stacey Kennedy uses, American Sign Language, and I love that example. I think this is Nate Ridgway, the example you're talking about. And think about this, right? This is a powerful way to provide either a reteaching, a comment from the educator, you right there engaging with it with your students. This is incredibly powerful.
Absolutely. And even in shorts, when you're creating that video, because we have boards, like you can do the halvesy thing and have a visual example explaining it as well as the teacher talking. So just all the tools in the camera are super powerful from the educator side as well as the student side to share their voice, how they're comfortable doing so.
So you just mentioned all the tools in the camera, and we really didn't go into the camera tonight, but you definitely have all of these features right here in the blog that you can review. For anybody who is curious about this, Liz, sorry, I'll get your screen back up in just a moment. But for anybody who's curious about this, all of these features, all of these features are just built right in. And so it's an incredible piece that you shared. And this is pretty cool. I know we're not going to watch this video, but for anybody who wants to, Liz, do you want to tease out what this is real quick?
Sure. It's not released yet, but we're in process of making game controllers work with Flipgrid. And so even the Microsoft's adaptive controller, you can run the camera and record a video that way for low mobility users. So it's a really fun feature, and it'll be really awesome once we get all the kinks worked out and that out in the wild.
Oh my gosh. Amazing. Well, Jess, Jornea, any last thoughts before we wrap up?
I just want to say thank you, Liz. Thank you for taking the time to come on here and talk about this stuff, but also just thank you for all of your hard work. I am constantly so impressed by when we're in the office and you can show us all the different things that are going on. I'm just amazed by all that you're doing.
Yeah,
so
thank you. This is really fun.
Unmute. Yeah.
Yes, and to all the educators who are watching today, please share how you're using some of these features. If you hadn't used them before, check them out, see how they can benefit your students, and share with us with the hashtag #FlipGridForAll, whether on Facebook or Twitter, Instagram, any of your favorite social media handles. And we would love to also continuously learn from you and grow with you as well.
Oh my gosh. Liz, thank you for joining in, and thank you for the work that you're doing to empower all learners. We're inspired by you every day because we see a little bit on the back end how hard you're working on all of those accessibility checks, and we see the updates, and the entire team is doing this purposefully to empower everyone to achieve more. But as head of accessibility, you get to share and you get to help us learn a little bit more every day. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And any last words before I play the video?
No, I just want to thank everyone for being here. And as Jornea said, yes, please check out the features. Let me know if there's anything we can make better, because I would love to hear that.
Fantastic. Well, friends, we're going to leave you with an incredible video that's showcasing the Immersive Reader. Remember, this is just one way you can empower your scholars to share their voice, dig in deeper with a tool if needed, but this is something we're all obsessed with within Flipgrid and thought it would be fun to go out with this video. So thank you for joining in. Thank you for all you're doing to empower your scholars and empower every voice in your learning and community and beyond. So we'll see you out there, and I hope you enjoy the video. Bye.
Bye.
Immersive Reader. Sauropod dinosaurs once ruled the Earth, but have been extinct for over 65 million years. Extinct. Extinct. Dinosaurios una vez gobernó la Tierra. Tierra. Tierra.